You are not just a combination of your symptoms, okay? Your symptoms aren't ingredients and we're making a cake here, no. What is going to be important is to understand your mind in terms of its personality structure. So what does that mean? What does a personality structure encompass? Well, first we have personality traits, we have defense mechanisms, we have relational components as well, so how you relate to yourself, right? So the relationship with yourself, your intrapersonal relationship, and interpersonal relationship, so the relationship you have with other people. We also want to know what your life looks like in relation to the world. So how do you present yourself in the world? How do you believe that the world treats you? So as an example, someone with a depressive personality structure is going to behave in such a way as to overly please and be agreeable towards other people. Why? Out of fear that the relationship will be terminated or somehow dissolved, and therefore they're going to be left alone, they're going to be left to suffer, and there's going to be no one there to help them. That's their fear. So in their mind, for the depressive personality structure, they're going to reach out to people and make sure that they are people pleasing. So anything that is outside of this realm is going to be, as an example, denied. So someone, maybe a very good friend or family member, might come up to you and say, I'm noticing that you're engaging in this people-pleasing behavior. X, Y, and Z don't really care about you the way that, I do and your other long-term friends do. But yet for some reason, you're continuing to please them, you're continuing to interact with them. Why? For the depressive personality structure, there's this need to collect people, because what ended up happening during infancy was a primary trauma that influenced this personality structure. So there might have been this insecure attachment that was created in childhood that stems from the relationship with parents or primary caregivers. And because that structure really wasn't solid, as a result, growing up, and especially if that relationship continues to be rocky, growing up, it's going to be vital for people who struggle with a depressive personality structure to focus on other people and their needs and give them this sense of pleasure. Because if I can give you pleasure through conversations with you or supporting you in times of need, paying for you, advocating for you, driving you, whatever it is, then you're less likely going to leave me. And if you're less likely going to leave me, then I can count on you to a certain extent to be there when I'm in need. But the problem here is the individual who struggles with the depressive personality structure is never in need on the surface. They're definitely in need when it comes to the emotional capacity and the level of support and nurturing that they need, but very rarely are they actually going to talk about what they need, because they are mindful that they can't burden you with their emotions, because then the likelihood of the relationship continuing under that burden is highly unlikely. So for the depressive personality structure, it is so important to maintain these relationships. With a schizoid personality structure, relationships are very, very different. So it's important to understand personality structures, defenses, relationships, how one internalizes people, personality traits, what one does, how one perceives, how one thinks, to the extent of which they're vulnerable with themselves, they're not vulnerable with themselves. These components give us an understanding of the whole person. When we look at disorders like depression, like major depressive disorder, it comes with a list of criteria that one needs to satisfy in order to be diagnosed. So we're just looking at the symptoms. And if, let's say, you're going to see a therapist who's just focusing on symptoms, then you're not going to get enough treatment. You need more than that. So having an understanding of what has happened to you, what's going on with you, not just your symptoms, is going to help you process the pain actually process what is going on consciously and unconsciously, and not just managing symptoms, right? We're not here to just work with coping strategies so you manage your symptoms so you're able to function. Our mission at the Mind People is to help you find relief. That doesn't mean you're not going to experience stress. That doesn't mean that you're always going to live your best life. What that means is we are going to expand your range of tolerance. So then this way, you are able to process stressors more so and be responsive than you are reactive. And if you are more responsive, then you can process the situational stressors that are going on, as you've already begun to process some of those unconscious, buried, difficult ones, and you're building evidence to suggest that you can actually do this and you are a very powerful individual and you can explore parts of your psyche without being burdened or buried by the pressure. Now this gives you reason. This gives you a solid foundation in addition to that reason, that mission to go out and live your best life. Live a life that is in line with your genuine sense of self. So understanding the personality structure is vital compared to understanding just the symptoms. So reach out to your consultation care coordinator today to schedule a consultation so then you can find out what your personality structure is.